this story is dedicated to the Singha of Singapore. Do you know, Singapore was called Singapore. Singha means lion and Pur means place or country or town. So a place of brave, courageous lions is Singapore. But do you know that the lion has other traits too? And today I'm going to tell a story of one such brave lion who had other traits also. So long, long ago, where most stories start, lived a slave with his master. Who's a slave? A slave is a person who does not think or is not allowed to think. He is controlled by his master. So if the master says sit, he sits. If he says stand, he stands. Sleep, he sleeps. Wake up, he wakes up. Read, stop, stop. Talk, he talks. Stop, he shuts up. He just doesn't have a mind of his own. He's not to think for himself. Such was a slave called Androclus who lived with his master. There were many masters and many slaves. Some masters were kind, others were cruel. Androclus had a cruel master. He made him work very, very hard from dawn to dusk. He didn't give him enough food, not enough rest, and was very cruel to him. He used rude words. He used bad words when talking to Androclus. Not just the master, but even his little children. Among my little friends who are listening to this story, does anyone speak rudely to people in their homes? Please don't, because without you knowing, your rude words might be harming and hurting a nice person in your house. Androclus really didn't mind the hard work. He didn't even mind that he didn't get enough food. But what he really felt bad was about the cruel and unkind words, not just from his master, but from the little children who he loved so much. So one day, Androclus got just fed up of all this and he hatched a plot. He said, I'm going to run. And he ran into the jungle. Even in the jungle, he kept on running till it was dark. He had to rest somewhere. So he found a little cave and crawled inside it. And he was so tired that he fell asleep. Somewhere closer to dawn, he heard a roar. He opened his eyes to see a ferocious lion standing there. Androclus was scared. He said, oh my God, the lion is going to eat me. I'm going to die. So he started praying. A minute passed, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Nothing happened. So Androclus opened one eye and saw, what is happening? There he saw the lion sitting ever so peacefully with an arm extended to Androclus. Androclus opened his eyes and he saw that the lion was really sad and in pain, and he was whimpering with his extended palm. Androclus took the palm in his hand and he saw that there was a big thorn inside the paw. He pulled out the thorn ever so gently and he said, dear lion, I'm sure it is hurting you. Blood was oozing out. Androclus cleaned the wound. Then he crushed some herbs and put them on the wound. He tore his tunic and tied a bandage. He took care of the lion. For days he would bring him food, he would clean his wound, he would nurse the lion back to health. The lion was healthy again and he could run. The lion said, now Androclus, you rest. I will do everything for you. So he went to the jungle, he killed an animal and he got it back for Androclus. Half he gave to Androclus, half he kept from himself. Androclus cooked his meat, of course, and the lion ate it raw. They both lived happily in the jungle. They both wandered around the jungle. They talked and spent time with each other. Days passed, then weeks, then months. Now, Androclus started missing his own kind, his own people. He started missing human company. So one day he approached the lion and said, Lion dear, I love you, but I miss my own people. I miss humans. Please let me go back to civilization. I will come occasionally to meet you, I promise. The lion smiled and said, Dear Androclus, of course I understand. Please go. Both the friends hugged each other and with teary eyes bade each other farewell. Androclus went back to the city. In the city, he roamed a free man for a few months. But then his master's guard spotted him and said, You are a fugitive slave. You are a runaway slave. They caught him and took him to the police. In those days, the penalty for a runaway slave was death. He was thrown into the dark dungeons and he had to wait until the day of the games. These games were cruel. On that day, man fought beast, and one of them lost and was killed. Androclus was to fight a beast, a hungry beast at that. The day of the games arrived. The entire town had assembled to watch this cruel feat. Even the emperor was present. Androclus was chained and brought on stage, and from the other end the beast was supposed to come. The beast had been kept hungry for days. Androclus prayed. The cage door opened and out came the charging beast. It was a big lion. Androclus closed his eyes and said, Now it's all over. But nothing happened. Instead, he felt wet licks on his face. He opened his eyes. What's happening? His eyes met the eyes of his friend, the lion from the jungle. He was so happy and so was the lion. The lion pawed him. They hugged each other, kissed each other. Oh, they were so happy to find each other. The lion, too, was hungry, but had not forgotten the good deed Androclus had done to him. He was grateful for Androclus, and so he had not eaten him up. All the spectacle, the audience stood up. They gave Androclus a standing ovation. The emperor too stood up and said, Androclus, what's happening? Androclus told his story to the emperor. The emperor's heart melted. He said, Today I declare you and your lion free forever. Go to the world and spread your message of love, kindness, and gratitude. So the lion and Androclus roamed in the jungle, roamed in the city, spreading their message of love, kindness, and gratitude. Yes, dear friends, that is what our Singha of Singapore also teaches us. Never to spare a moment to be kind to others, and never forget even the slightest kindness that anybody does to you. So we are brave, we are courageous, but as Singaporeans, we are also kind, loving, and grateful. Thank you.